There you go. You're on.
Good morning. Twice. It's live from Sprouts parking lot. We're going to have a nice day today because we have friends coming to visit us from Southern California. To visit us, people who are shut-ins and socially disadvantaged. So we're looking forward to it today. But I am getting my weekly shopping done, so I will have to say adieu, and Lon has something, I'm sure, that he's probably talked about last week with you and forgotten he did it, so.
Now that I'm a novelist.
Now he's a novelist, he doesn't care. Goodbye.
Okay, bye, dear.
Blessings.
Okay.
Healing and peace, and a side order of freedom from fear.
Oh, that's... Okay, I'm going to flip this around. Here, there we go. Hello, sorry we're a little late this morning, but it's Tuesday and all of that. There, oh, she's coming back first. Yes, dear?
Don't mean to interrupt, but I was distracted. I forgot my mask.
Okay. All right, here we are. Wait, I've got coffee from the last parking lot here. I'm going to take a little sip. Today, I'm going to talk about initiation. Okay. And in particular, initiation, but I'm going to use as an example, anyway, probably the most common kind of dramatic initiation ceremony or method in the world, I guess, especially in the United States, is the Masonic initiations. While there's magical initiations, and then there's religious initiations, and then there's Boy Scout initiations, and then there's college fraternity initiations. But what I'm talking about is initiation with a capital I. Now, Masonic, I was like 50 years old before I actually joined the Masons. But even at that time, I'd spent 25 years, I think, or almost 25 years in the OTO prior to that, which is a magical organization, initiatory society, that's patterned. Indeed, it started out as a Masonic, a European Masonic Academy kind of thing. And so, in a sense, I don't want to be, totally quoted on this, but OTO and Golden Dawn type initiations are sort of like the Masonic formula on magical steroids. But when it comes right down to the organizations themselves, they're organizations made up of people, and people can be wonderful, people can be saintly, people can be illuminated, whether or not their illumination was the result of their participation in the body that they were initiated in, or whether their illumination came from their individual efforts. I'll back that up. All of your illumination will come from your individual efforts and not your participation in any organization. So I have a limited amount of patience with people that said, well, I joined this organization or that organization because I thought they were illuminated people, and I expected them to act like illuminated people, and they disappointed me. No matter what organization you're going to join, the people, the leadership, the people like you in the organization are going to disappoint you, just as you disappoint you. And the lofty oaths and purposes of the organization, individuals will always fall short of those. But you took those oaths. You are meant to apply it, those goals, those aspirations. You are supposed to apply that to you. And so when they say, well, I quit this organization or that organization because they were full of assholes and the assholes treated me unfairly. And okay, did not you expect your initiation to carry over into your life, which is full of obstacles, ordeals, challenges? So I'm going to get off of my soapbox there. Because if I expected my participation in a local Masonic lodge to give me the esoteric thrills and chills that I imagine Masonry could be, then I'd really be disappointed. But I'm not. And I'm a proud Mason, and I'm a proud OTO initiate, and I'm a proud a bunch of other things too. So I'm going to read to you today just a brief little excerpt from The Key to Solomon's Key. It's one of my books published by a smaller publisher. But it's Is This the Lost Key to Freemasonry? And the first edition was Secrets of Magic and Masonry. Now, I talk a lot about the Knights Templar, and I talk a lot about the esoteric side of Freemasonry, what it is, what it isn't. But all of that to illustrate that in order to do the technical things that we call Solomonic magic or Goetia, it's a magical technique and method in and of itself. But in order for it to actually properly work, the individual working the magic has to be a particular type of individual. It has to be a liberated person, at least liberated enough to know what is and is not in their own best interest, who is liberated enough to realize that all of the powers, energies, the forces that the magician is working with is only done in the magician's capacity as a conduit to infinite power, infinite force, infinite energy. And that's the point I'm trying to make here before I start talking about whipping up demons here. This is from chapter 12. Okay, has a little epigram from Rumi. In short, whoever finds whoever finds this house is ruler of the world, Solomon of his time. In the first chapter of this book, I say that regardless of the circumstances surrounding Masonry's creation and development, regardless of the past or present motives and activities of its individual leaders and members. The craft is, indeed, the custodian of a profound and fundamental secret. I also made to what many may have sounded like a presumptuous and audacious remark that I possessed the key to that secret. I here repeat that assertion. If, however, you were hoping that the nature of the secret takes the form of the mummified body of Jesus, or a gold-plated Ark of the Covenant hidden under the pyramid at the Louvre or beneath the grounds of the CIA headquarters, or proof of the extraterrestrial origins of the British royal family, then I'm afraid you're about to be disappointed. For although wonders such as these may well exist, and someday be brought to light, their discovery would only serve to slightly readjust our view of mundane history as it relates to religion and politics. The real secret is not a document or a book or an artifact. It is something that can neither be taught nor learned. It is an incommunicable fact of life that concerns the most profound wonder in the universe, the mystery of consciousness itself, and our ability to achieve progressively higher levels of consciousness. In order to do that, we must become a new kind of person. And we have to start that process the same way the legendary Knights Templar did, by first liberating ourselves from the great delusion that keeps most of us in a state of spiritual bondage. The delusion that we do not create our own reality. The delusion that we are helpless victims of someone or something else's reality. This seems like such a little step, but it is in reality a quantum leap in consciousness, a fundamental shift in self-identity. I'm going to roll up my window. No. He's through backing up. As innocuous as the traditions and ceremonies of Freemasonry may appear, they do, by their very order and structure, elegantly communicate to anyone with eyes to see the essence of the formula of initiation. Speaking of challenges and ordeals, first of all, we must want to change. In keeping with the most ancient customs of the mystery tradition, Masonry invites no one into her ranks. Each potential candidate must voluntarily apply and swear he is unbiased by friends and uninfluenced by mercenary motives. Now, I may stick my neck out and add that what I'm saying here about these Masonic fundamentals apply in even more intense and greater proportions initiation ceremonies such as the Golden Dawn and Ordo Templi Orientis, to name a few. Secondly, the initiation ritual itself reveals the threefold formula of evolution, which are, here's the threefold: resistance, struggle, and mutation. The candidate submits to this process again and again as he or she is repeatedly barred from advancement within the lodge room. Then, confronted with an ordeal or otherwise purified or instructed, finally he's eventually allowed to pass and take his place in the temple. Indeed, the three main degrees of Freemasonry, the candidate is initiated, then passed, then raised. The candidate physically experiences this process on the night of his or her initiation, but is also required to embed the experience in the deepest recesses of the mind. He or she does this by painstakingly committing large portions of the ceremony to memory, then reciting it letter perfect before the master and his lodge brothers. Until this is done, the candidate is not considered qualified to take the next degree. This is more difficult for some than others. But the ordeal of memorization is vitally important, for once the formula of initiation becomes imprinted upon the subconscious mind, it becomes difficult, if not impossible, to remove from the psyche. I'm going to repeat that sentence. This is more difficult for some than others, but the ordeal of memorization is vitally important, for once the formula of initiation becomes imprinted upon the subconscious mind, it becomes difficult, if not impossible, to remove from the psyche. This simple formula, experienced by every Mason in his travels through the degrees, is precisely that outlined in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and parallels the journey of the deceased as he or she passes to higher and higher levels of post-mortem consciousness. The third and most important factor in the formula of initiation is the act of consciously inserting ourselves into the divine circuitry of the cosmos. Now, I digress to say we're already in the divine circuitry of the cosmos. We can't get out of it. The trick is consciously recognizing it and consciously inserting ourselves willfully into that circuitry, accepting, not creating, accepting our magical birthright. One can rightly argue that we all are, at times, whether we recognize it or not, an inextricable part of the universal and supreme stream of consciousness and existence. But it is not until we wake up, take that, I want to be woke. But it is not until we wake up and recognize our position in this circuitry can we begin the great work. The work of invoking the forces of nature above us so that we may master our own demons and direct their chaotic energy to build the temple of our own evolving soul. This is what the archetypal Solomon did. And in Masonry, this is expressed in the disarmingly simple admonition, no man should ever undertake any great or important undertaking without first invoking the blessing of God. Once again, the Bible provides the key in a simple story that conceals a fundamental secret of magic. A lesson that if we observe, we will gain the power to control the infernal spirits. And if we ignore it, we'll be assured that the infernal spirits will remain in control of us. The 3rd chapter of the Book of Kings tells us that at the beginning of his reign, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a vision by night and said, "Ask that which I should give you." "Hey, Solomon, what do you want?" Solomon answered, "Give therefore to thy servant an understanding heart, to judge thy people, and to discern between good and bad." Okay, I'm going to stop for a second. In magic, the magician... Excuse me for a second. Well, I don't know how that's going to chop up our morning's thing, but I am back. And I was talking about what Solomon asked God in the Book of Kings. And I was mentioning the fact that a magician doesn't know what is or is not in their own best interest until they have gained knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel, which is in Tifereth, which is called beauty, the 6th Sephirah, but it's also associated with the heart. Okay. Now, that's kind of going to be important to us here. Give therefore to thy servant an understanding heart, to judge thy people, and to discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great people? And it pleased the Lord, because Solomon had asked this thing. And the Lord said to Solomon, "Wow, man, that's the coolest fucking thing anyone's ever asked me." But that's been lost in translation, and instead it's been interpreted as the Lord said to Solomon, "Because you have asked this thing, and you have not asked for yourself riches, neither have you asked for the lives of your enemies, nor have you asked for yourself long life, but have asked for yourself wisdom to discern judgment. Therefore, you got it, kid. I have done according to your words. Lo, I have given you a wise and understanding heart." Okay. On the tree of life. Now, Solomon was talking to God right up there. That's Solomon talking to number one. And God is giving him a wise, number two on the tree of life, wisdom, and understanding, that's number three. So God, wisdom, and understanding, 1, 2, 3. The supernal triad is talking back to Solomon and giving him an understanding heart, number 6, so that he can judge the people, number 10, in his kingdom. And that includes the ability to control the infernal spirits, to build the kingdom. Excuse me, I digress. Before undertaking the task of ruling his people and building the temple, Solomon doesn't begin by consulting with his inferiors, his ministers, his generals, his architects, his building supply contractors, or labor leaders. He doesn't immediately enmesh himself in the energy-draining details of micromanaging such a huge and important project. Instead, he turns his attention toward the highest level of the hierarchical scale of consciousness. He makes direct contact with the deity, and instead of behaving like a helpless youngster asking a parent for pocket money, he boldly makes himself available to serve as a conduit through which deity's infinite wisdom and understanding can pass. All that from Masonry's seemingly innocuous. No man should ever undertake any great or important undertaking without first invoking the blessing of God. This profoundly mature and uncomplicated request is instantly granted, as if deity had no choice but to acquiesce. A unique spiritual hierarchy is created, with Solomon enthroned midway between heaven and hell, poised to work in cosmic harmony with the divine consciousness above him, poised to compel the infernal spirits to do the same. This is the primary secret of Solomonic magic. As long as the magician remains plugged in to that which is above, he or she is simultaneously plugged into and must begin to master that which is below. Well, I hope that if you saw the first section that you were patient enough to see the second section and the finish of this. That's it for today. I apologize for being late. Apologize for the interruption. But it's just demons. It's just demons. Oh, you demons. Okay. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.